This is a Black Forest cobbler that we make in the pressure cooker. And I know we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, but it's because it's been featured in our sale flyer for the month of February. And last week I made a main dish in it that was very easy to do. This week I'm going to make something sweet and easy. This is so easy. You won't believe how easy this is. I'm going to use the pressure cooker, which we talked about last week. It has a lot of fail safes on it. So unlike your mother's pressure cooker that may have blown up on the stove like my mom's did, this one has several different fail safes in it. To begin with, it has, let me put my, you don't need to see me. This is the star of the show anyway. It has a valve here that will tell you, it's an indicator valve. When it's up, it means there's pressure inside here, and don't take the top off. It also has a great little, this is not a handle. This is also a safety precaution. It holds the lid down, and it covers another little hole. I don't know if you can see it down here, but it covers another little hole that will relieve pressure in case there is a problem. But make sure when you're washing your pressure cooker, never, ever, ever lose this little piece. This is so important. This tiny little gasket here, which covers that hole, needs to be in place. If you lose it, then you will not be able to build pressure in your pressure cooker because this valve will always be open. So make sure you take caution when you're washing your pressure cooker not to lose this little cover. There's also another relief valve over here. And of course, the cover itself turns and locks into position. It has these little teeth and grooves all around the edges so that it will lock in position. There's so many things. And then finally, if everything else has a problem, it has this wonderful gasket inside that is designed when the pressure gets too high, it folds in on itself and will fall down into your recipe. And at that point, all the pressure will be released around these edges. So this is your final fail safe to make sure that you don't have any problems. So I don't know how it could fail, but nevertheless, Tupperware put a lot of effort into this to make sure that this works properly and that we don't have an accident, so that it's safe. It also, they were kind to us and they put markings. I know you can't see them because they are the same color as but there's a marking in here that gives a minimum fill line and a maximum fill line. So again, another safety feature. So you never overfill it and you never not put enough water or liquid in there to make sure that your recipe is cooked. Now tonight, our moisture, our liquid is actually going to be pie filling. And the recipe, oh boy, I'll post this for you, but let me tell you, I don't think you even need to write down this recipe. It is so simple. The first thing we're going to do is open a couple of cans of pie filling. And I'm going to use our can opener. If you don't have one of these, oh my goodness, I really must encourage you to get a Tupperware can opener. You know it's properly on the can because when you seat it on the can, you can hold it up in the air just like this, right-handed or left-handed. It's called ergonomically correct. Then the handle here is very easy to turn because of its shape. Your whole hand can fit into it. And it's all held together by these two little gears. I don't know if you can see them right there, these little gears. And also, I hope you notice as you're looking at this, how clean and nice this is. I never have to wash it because it never touches the food. All I did when I just did this is I glued the top or the seal to my can. So now I'm going to use this little beak here at the top. I'm going to set it on the edge of my can and see the top pulls away very easily. So one top, I'm just going to put that in my sink. Here's all my cherry pie filling. And I think that Judy gave us a great tip when she said, be sure and read the recipe on your box, because yes, you can make alterations just like she suggested. Sometimes though, it's a good thing to know exactly what's expected of you, because I personally have made this before, but it's been a while and I did not read my directions and I didn't know you needed to have 2 cans of pie filling. So I have one of the cherry and I have one of lemon, but I think it's going to be delicious. I think these are going to be really good together because the cherries are tart. They're not super sweet or anything. And so I think this is going to be a good combination. So I'm going to try it because I had the lemon in my pantry already. So I thought, okay, well, we'll just try it and see what happens. And since I don't have to feed you, just my husband.
I mix my food anyway.
Yeah, Carrie says he mixes his food anyway. So hopefully it will be, the flavor will be good. But we're going to get the proper result. And I'm just going to mix these 2 together so that they get incorporated. And so we don't have layers or anything like that. So I'm incorporating that recipe together. And now we just set it aside for just a minute because now we have to put the cake mix together. And I'm going to use, and I know I do have the right color, but I'm going to use both of them tonight. So I wanted to use, this is the one that I use at home all the time. And it is the old color, but oh my gosh, I love this thing. It's just how I use it so much. So I'm going to use it with the blade attachment, and tonight because I'm going to be mixing my cake mix. Now I did read the label, but according to the recipe for this, I need to put half of this cake mix in my recipe, and then I need to put not melted, but my my softened butter in there as well. So I'm going to put a couple of pieces of that in my, you actually use an entire stick of butter to make this, which I mean, what could not be yummy about that? So did I put that on there? Wait a minute. Let's see properly. And so what would not be yummy about that? I think butter makes everything better. I think Paula Dean and I would definitely agree with that. So now all I'm going to do is pull the handle, and that will incorporate it in my with my cake mix. And this is a devil's food cake mix. I wasn't sure if I told you that or not. Now we just take the rest of it. I mean, was that easy? So makes it easy. So I'm going to take the rest of it, take the rest of the butter. I'm going to put it in half a little bit. And it did not specify whether or not I should use salted or unsalted butter. It didn't say. Sometimes that's very important. If a recipe specifies not to use salted butter, don't do it, because salt is also can work with your leavening to change things. So if it says use unsalted, do yourself a favor and use unsalted butter. But if this recipe didn't say one way or the other, so I'm just using salted butter. Just gonna a couple of quick pulls, make sure that that butter gets incorporated in my cake mix 100%. Oh my goodness. It's just so fluffy. I mean, there's no big lumps in it or anything. So now, what I have to do, I've mixed it up in here. Now all I have, okay, Linda, put that down, is sprinkle this on top. That's right, just sprinkle it on top, just like this. It doesn't say incorporate it at all. It just says sprinkle it on top. So, and let me make sure it just says, yep, mix it, half, other half, pour the cake mixture on top of the pie filling and even it out. So let me get another one, even it out. Here, so you can see all my unrighteous mammon here. I'm like, Judy, I bet I have I probably have 8 spatulas of all different colors, but as I get to cooking, I use them all. They all have I would never throw away one because I always use them. Now it's time to seat the pressure cooker on, and it says to put it in for about 14 minutes. So I'm going to do that. But while I was doing that, I'm like Judy, I wanted to make a topping. So I don't know if I'll have time. If you don't think I will, Judy, my goal was to use my Power Chef to make some whipped cream, because I was going to use, instead of using the blades, I was going to use my paddle attachment. But if someone else needs to do it, I can always make that, and you can come back to me later and I'll show you the end result.
Oh, no, we want to see it.
Okay.
But it's Valentine's. We need to know how to make whipped cream.
You can see, I keep one of these in my, it just stays in my microwave. I use that thing all the time. If you don't have a plate cover, do yourself a favor and get one. All right, so we'll start that. Okay, so now I've talked about this every week because I always find a reason to use my Power Chef. Mostly 90% of the time I'm going to be using the blade, but today, because I'm going to be making some whipped cream, instead I'm going to use I'm going to use the paddle. There are a couple of little tricks about making whipped cream. When you make whipped cream, you want everything to be as cold as it can possibly be. When you're making meringue, it's better if your egg whites are at room temperature. So you'll get a better result if it works that way. So let me get my, I put this in the freezer, so it's really cold. I didn't put the bottom in, and I should have. Okay. You have to be strong enough to open the can here. Open the, well, what on earth?
Okay.
Would you? I know, here, can you open this for me? I don't know why that's not open. I didn't even think about it usually. And when you do whipped cream, there are a couple of other little things too. If you're someone who uses white granulated sugar, that will dissolve and works well. I do not. I use a different kind of sugar. So the grains on the sugar that I use, thank you very much, are a little bit, are a little bit larger. So I don't want to use that sugar in here. It just takes it too long to dissolve. Now I'm going to put it there. That's the beauty of this. We have measurements here on the sides. Ooh, wait a minute, I'm out of the camera. Measurements on the side. So I just put in a cup right up to the measurement here on the side. And I guess this, thank you. And we're going to start to pull for just a little bit. And then I'm going to, this is where where I'm going to measure out a little bit of vanilla, because this will also make your whipped cream very, very yummy. So I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla here in my funnel. Let's see, we have a measurement. Okay. Oh no, I had it in the open position. That's another thing when you're doing it, because I guess I took it off the top. It's okay, it'll work. Because I was going to add it towards the end. This isn't too loud, and you can still hear things. But remember, every time you're pouring this, your paddle is turning 7 times. So it will start to get pretty quickly. Now I'm going to take it off for just a second, because now it's had a chance to incorporate a little bit. Oh my goodness, I better hurry because it's almost done. And I'm going to put a little bit, I'm using powdered sugar, and I only put in a couple of teaspoons rather than the granulated sugar. Again, like I said, if you use white sugar, not much of a problem. But if you don't use white sugar, it's better off if you use powdered sugar, because it'll work better for you. Oh, almost. It's really close. My little hands there. Sometimes you have to watch it. If you do too much, instead of having whipped cream, you'll have butter. That's not a bad thing. If you get butter, oh my gosh, then you just have to put it on your toast instead. Okay, I can feel it. I can feel that it's, now you see how it's clinging to the sides? So now I have whipped cream. So what I'll do is I'll put this in the, refrigerator, and when my recipe is done, I'll have this to put on a little dollop, and it'll be delicious. So it's up to you. If you'd like to come back to me, I'll be glad to show you what the whole thing looks like at the end. So there you have it.
Wonderful, Linda. Thank you. Whipped cream, you guys. Isn't that so